So the winter is finally gone and it's getting warmer weather. So time to work on the Land Rover again. The suspension last year was a little bit soft, so I think it's time to upgrade, put some new parts in. And this time it's Terra Firma again. Lift kit 2-inch and a little harder springs. I think this is the medium kit. So let's start working on it. So I got the car up on jack stands and the jack under the rear axle. I remove the wheels and start by removing the shock absorber. The upper part was easy, but the lower part was kind of stuck, so I have to cut off the lower part. Couldn't get the nut off there. And then it's time to remove the spring. It's held by 2 bolts at the bottom part there, and a nut on the other side. I actually sprayed the nuts and bolts a couple of days before I started to get them off easier. Be sure to keep all original parts in the right order. And lower the rear axle. Lower the axle a little bit more. I had to compress the spring a little bit to get it in. It's a little bit longer than the standard. So the spring is in place and the bolts and nuts are tightened. So let's install the shock absorber. Upper part first.
Welcome to intermission.
Let's continue with the front suspension. Jack up the car, take off the wheels and put it on stands. So this is the right hand side in the engine bay, and we have this cover that needs to be removed, and there is two screws. One is located there and the other one is on the inside very badly, so you have to loosen the air filter box. Start by removing this cover with 6 screws, and if you have air condition model, loosen this hose for air condition with 1 bolt, so it's loosened like that. Remove this hose that sits there. Easy to remove that one. And on the airbox you have this connector. Loosen that, remove the lid, take out the filter. Then this box is not screwed, it's just pushed into grommets on the inside, and you don't have to remove the box, but you have to loosen it. So move this air duct to the left, pull the box to the right and up, and then you can access the screw that is on the cover. You don't have to remove the whole box, it can be still in the engine bay, loosened like that. You can access the screw. Then remove the nut from the shock absorber, the lower on the hair, but I couldn't get it off, so I have to saw it. And don't make mistake and saw in the chamber with the gas. You have to saw the bolt off like this. I'll show you. This will take some time, but it's the only option. Okay, now it's loose. I remove the upper nuts for the shock absorber strut or tower. Well, lift the assembly up. The spring will be still in the car, but this part will go up. Up into the engine bay and out. jack up the front axle and then put on the spring tools to compress the spring, and then lower the front axle. And then you can easily take out the spring. And the remaining parts from the shock absorber, you have to knock off these washers and the grommet. This ring that holds the strut can be removed, and one of the bolts went off, so I have to weld in a new bolt. When installing the front spring, you could get some extra space with a small jack to get some space for the spring. Make sure the brake hose and wires go safe, so you don't jack up too much. And then compress the spring tools. Yeah, that should do it. Assemble the front shock on a bench and tighten the nuts. And then drop down the assembly from the engine bay down there. It's a little bit tight on the left side. Okay, so the shock absorber strut is in place. Tighten the nuts, and the shock is going to be bolted on the underside. And make sure these grommets and the washers are put in the right way. First this one, then the rubber, and the washer and the nut at the bottom. Okay. In the engine bay on the right hand side, where you have the airbox, it was quite a hassle to get off the lid, the cover from the shock absorber. So instead, put some clips on the lid like this, and then you screw from the inside of the wheel housing instead of the engine bay. Then you don't have to remove the air box next time. And the screws are stainless steel, so they don't rust. installing the opposite of removing. You can see the grommets, those two. Just put it back there and press it back in place. And there's a third grommet. I don't know if you can see it. The air filter is installed, the cover, connector, the hoses, and the air condition bracket installed. And this cover